Welcome to FredoXRef. XRef means cross-reference. So an XRef component is a component that is sourced outside the current model in its own model called XRef model. So in Sketchup native, you can manage XRef components with the functionality import. So you can import, for example, let's import a chair here. Okay, you can modify this chair. For example, let's paint it in green. Okay, and you can now export it to its source model. So it's called save as. Save as. Okay, you retrieve here. You replace so the model, the component in its source model by this new version. If I open the chair, you see that now it's green. Let's make a change to the source model of the chair by painting it in, let's say, yellow. And I save the model. So if I go back to my assembly model, okay, nothing tells me that the chair was updated and painted in yellow. So still I can update the chair by the function reload. So I reload, but I have again to choose chair, and here it is in yellow. Here is the toolbar of FredoXRef. So here is import. Here is update, which is the equivalent to reload. Here is the publish, which is equivalent to the save as. And here is the status of everything that relates to XRef. We'll see it. And here are some utility functions. Okay, so let's quickly assemble a model of a house. So let's take the wall. So you see here that you have additional options. You have manual placement, like SketchUp does by default, and insert in place. You have also overlay, frozen, discard guide, which we'll come back to that. So insert in place, and you see that the wall is inserted in the model. So now let's add the floor. Same thing, insert in place. And you see that because these models are maintained outside, it's very often much better to position them outside and not to have to manually place them in the model. Let's add the table. Okay, so I can do manual placement if I wish. Okay, and let's have one table. And now let's add a chair. So let's put manual placement here. And so what you see now is an assembly of components which are maintained outside of this assembly model. If you select this component, you see component panel appearing here with a number of icons. We'll go through the detail of this, but it means that it's an XRef component. So it always appears here when you select one of these XRef component. So And you see here, this is the status. So it says that I have 4 XRef components: chair, floor, table, and wall. By the way, XRef component is related to the component definition. Okay, if for example I take this chair and I copy 4 times, oops, you see that now, yeah, I have 5. So here delete 1. So I have 4 instances. Okay, but these are the same components. This is the same definition. Now, what happens if I modify externally the chair? So let's go back to the chair model and paint it this time in green. Okay, I save the chair. Now, if I go back to the assembly model, in the status, you see that there is now the chair highlighted in orange with an update available. So if I click on update, there's no need to ask me to choose a component. It knows that this is a chair model, and therefore now all the chairs are in green. The status panel can be left open and shrink. For example, you can leave it here at the bottom. And if you leave it here, it will automatically update whenever there is something updated outside the model. So if I go to chair, I paint it in red, I save, I go back to the assembly model. So here the update is made every 30 seconds. So you have an indicator to tell you how old is the status. You see that after a few seconds you get this icon. Okay, so if you click on it, then things are updated. So it can be one or several XRef components. So you see now the chairs are in red. You can manage changes the other way around. So let's say that I now paint the table in yellow, and you see that now in the status I get this icon, which is that one XRef component and the table has been modified, and I can publish it. If I do that, by the way, this publish icon is also here. If I do that, then the source model will be updated. So let's click on it. It's done. It's updated. If now I go and open the table, you see that it is in yellow. Okay. By the way, and just for convenience, and this is something you can parameterize, there is a backup of the source model, okay, with stamped with a date, in case you made a mistake. Okay, so you can always go back to one or two. Here it's parameters with two backups. You can always manage to undo these things. Okay, so you see that with XRef and with one click you can really modify components one way or the other way between the assembly model and the source models. FredoXRef provides a lock-unlock mechanism, which can be useful when you work in a team, or even if you are alone, to avoid double modification of components. So it works the following way. You select a component, here the table, and you click on the lock icon. So you have to give your author name, or it's taken by default, and you lock the XRef component. Okay, so nothing else has happened except to declare that you want to work now on this component alone, and hopefully avoid that somebody else can modify it at the same time. So you see a message reminding you that you lock the table component. Now, if you go to the table file, then you see that you have also a big warning telling you that the model is locked here by you. It can be by somebody else, somewhere else, and therefore, although you are not prevented to modify it, you should not. Same thing if ever you, for example, import the table. Okay, so let's say that in another model you have the table. So you see that the table is highlighted in red, and here the icon with the double lock shows that it's locked by in another model, and therefore you should not modify it. Okay. Let's modify the table by painting it, say, in blue. And let's consider that we have finished. So we want to unlock, so we can either just unlock. Here we made modifications, so this modification will not be really recorded for the team. Publish and keep the lock if we want to continue to work, or publish and unlock. So if we do that, okay, we get here an error because FredoXRef detected that the table model is open, which is true. It's here. So let's close it. So, okay, so, and let's do that again. So publish and unlock. So now it's publish and unlock, and if I go to the table model, here it is. So the table is blue and I don't have any more a message. Same thing here in the new model where I imported the table. I have now the update button because I modify it. So if I click on update, I get the table in blue. Okay, so pretty much the lock unlock is superimposed to the regular publish update mechanism. The difference is that you get this red warnings and red bounding box around components to highlight that somebody else is working on it and you should not do changes. The component panel appears when you select an XRef component. So first you can move it anywhere. Double click to close it. And then you have the number of instances with with where is the source model. This is update button which tells you when it's grayed out, it's up, the component is up to date. This is a relink, so you can attach the component to another model if you wish. You have the overlay and frozen, which probably I explained in another video. We have the lock unlock. So here is what we have seen. A publish button. Okay, so it is in green if we have not modified the component, so it's in sync with the model. If we modify it, let's paint it in red and select again, you see that it's in red now, the icon for publish, and if I publish, then it becomes green again. Export is to export the component to another name, or at least you can select the name. XRef is to remove the XRef property of the component, so it becomes a regular component. And here you can open the folder where you have the XRef component, and you see the backup files. Whenever you export, there are backup files. And here you can even open the model in SketchUp. It takes a little bit of time because it opens a new instance, at least on Windows. And here is the history of what happens to this table component, who did what action when, okay, and in which file. Okay, so you can trace, especially when you are in a team, you can trace what has happened. And you have a compact mode and an extended mode, which you can here configure. That is, you can, in compact mode, select which command you want. For example, if you don't want open directory, you won't get it in compact mode. Okay, that's the component panel. The XRef status panel, which is this icon, tells you what's going on. So here I arrange that I have two components, the chair and the wall, which have been modified externally. So I may want to update them in this model. And also I've modified the table here in this model. I actually added a hole. Okay, so you can control this individually. That is, you can publish the new table or update each of them, or you can do it by bulk. So for example, you can update the two components in one click. Here you get the new wall and the new chair in green, and you can also publish. For publish, you have a confirmation dialog where you can actually select which one you want to publish, because publish is really a more destructive operation. Okay, whereas you can undo an update. Okay, but a publish, you really modify the source file, so therefore you modify something outside of your current model. Okay, so you see that these panels which can be shrinked or expanded, is useful when you work in team and you have many things going on at the same time. Here are three components. that are defined in an external model, but which have not been declared in FredoXRef. So when I click on them, you see the component panel does not appear. Still, I can natively reload, save as. Okay, so they are defined in an external model. If you want to migrate them to the FredoXRef environment, so you can select this, migrate regular components to XRef. You have a list. You see that Heather is a part of this list, and you select the one you want to migrate. So let's say I want to migrate the cube and the cylinder. So migrate to XRef. Now if I click on the cube, I see the component panel. Same thing for the cylinder, but not for the hexagonal shape, or not for either. Okay, so that's a way. If you had already XRef component using the native workflow, you can migrate them in bulk to the FredoXRef environment. Okay, and in the status now, you see that the cube and the cylinder will appear, so you can operate, log them, and so on. You can turn a regular component, local to the model, so no external model, to an XRef component. So let's quickly draw a component. Okay, and so when you call the contextual menu, you have an entry for FredoXRef, and save the component to a new XRef model. Okay, so you select the file name, my shape. Okay, and now this component is FredoXRef component, so it will appear in the component panel, and we'll have also here its entry in the status panel.